Okay, I'm back. So I think now everything is working and I'm not on the phone anymore, so we may get fully focused on this. We have about half an hour to look at the front end for this Stripe backend we're developing. So I'm going to use Elm and we're going to see how far we can get. So I use Parcel for most of my projects these days, and what I did is I installed Parser Bundler, I installed Node Elm compiler, which is, you don't need to install it, but it's just easier if you do, then you don't get bugs on platforms like Netlify. I'm going to clear everything. So what I want to do is create a page which allows me to use Stripe checkout. And the reason we're switching from payments to checkout is because checkout is way easier to integrate. It doesn't require us to embed some kind of sneaky PayPal elements. I just do redirect, and then when it comes back to us. So there's only one simple method we need to call on the Stripe API. So we need to include this thing in the index HTML first. So I have this HTML here. I don't really like that it's kind of not malformed, so I'm just going to do HTML5 here instead. Copy my body. Get rid of that. Oops. Get rid of all of this, and I had this script that they wanted me to load. So this is a Stripe script. So the way I can tell if it's loaded or not is by simply doing console log Stripe, and I'm gonna get a Stripe object here. If I check in my application, get hello Elm, and we'll also get the Stripe crazy function thing. So the Stripe function is relatively simple. We just need to give it a Stripe key, and I have ours handy saved here. This is test key, so you can look at it. It doesn't bother me. So that key, since we do that, it tells us, hey, you must strip test Stripe integration over HTTP, but real life won't work here. That's fine. We will have HTTPS. So now I need to figure out how do I make it talk to my Elm app. And if you've done any Elm development, you know that the only way practically to talk both ways is either through ports or through custom elements. So we're going to do the easier one, I think, is ports. So to make our, I can go and write the whole thing, but you know, programmers are super lazy. So what I usually do is I use snippets. So I have this browser application snippet, I press enter, it fills everything here. And let's just make it compile first, because if it's not compiling, then it's not working. So it says import URL, it doesn't know what the URL is, because most of the time it's actually not installed by default in Elm, so we need to add Elm URL. First, it will tell us it's in direct dependency. Now if I save again, it will reformat some and tell me next thing. So I have this property type thing here, which doesn't know, because that's what snippet just creates for us. Then next error is it doesn't know what the model initial values are, and that's just the key and the URL, I believe. And it needs to be the same order which we defined them in. And then the last thing, it tells us that, hey, they don't know what these flags are. So we didn't define the type for the flags. So I will not do it here. I will find my other type definitions. So I have a model, for example, so I can check next to model, I can check flags. And I'm just going to make it empty for now. That's kind of empty thing. It doesn't like our empty thing because I'm just going to make it empty object. I think that should be fine. So I'm going to change this flags to be flags, capital F. And oh, you don't like, oh, because it's type alias. So it's type alias of empty object, and now it just wants us to make sure that the variable here is called flags. Okay, so now it's compiling. Let's check that everything is working. It gives us the implication. We don't have ports yet, so I'm gonna at this point commit and save, add the Stripe and Elm application, and now make it portable. I'll kind of find it. Okay, so to make it work with the port, we need to add somewhere here, and I like to put my ports next to types. So I put port here, and I'm going to call it redirect to checkout. So it's the only function we're gonna call, and it's gonna accept a string and return a cmd message. So when we define it like this, you will notice we have another error. You must produce a cmd, not the lowercase message, but I didn't produce the message lowercase. Like this lowercase message. I don't know why the lowercase is here. Maybe our update function is wrong. Okay, so basically when we have the difference between the capital case message and the lowercase message is that whenever you produce a capital case message, that means that it's this specific messages. The lowercase message means it's anything. So for some reason it wants us to be anything. Maybe it creates some kind of a message there, which is weird. So if I go and I look at the app, so console logging the app there, see it's still empty object. If you look at the way to do ports here, thing here, search for ports. So this is Elm guide. If you have not familiar with it, with Elm guide, it's one of the best ways to find out how to use anything in Elm. To be honest, it's standard. So to get the stuff to interact with those ports, is we need to call up ports, but we don't have any ports, and I've been beaten by this for quite some time. Until I realized that Elm is quite smart in terms of optimizing. So what it does is if we're not using the port, it just ignores it. So we need to actually find a place where we use it. And what I'm going to do is just add the button here. So let's see if we can do this. I'm going to add a button. And I'm just going to start with saying click me. That should give us a button. Okay, I have a button now. Now let's see if we can do on click. And on click we want to say redirect, and button click maybe. So pay, submit, button click. And actually I'm thinking this, I'm writing on click, but I don't actually need a button. I need an input field. And instead of on click, I actually want to say, so we're going to import the events there. So we can access all of the events. And instead of on click, I want to say, let's check out documentation. What do we have for inputs? On input, we have on blur, which I think is what I'm probably interested in, because on blur allows us to say, so we don't need the text there, maybe set placeholder in here. On blur allows us to say something like, customer email changed, and let's set a type while we're here, type to be text, and we're gonna make it required. So that's part of HTML attributes, and see there is required somewhere here, and it's just bool, so we're just gonna say true. And again we need to import HTML attributes. Exposing to needing. So now save, and we're gonna see probably some error. So it says unfinished list because I did something wrong. Trailing commas not allowed in the list. There is no trailing commas. Yeah, the type is like this because it conflicts with normal M type, I think. Just remove the type for now. Okay, so it doesn't like customer email change because it doesn't know what this type is. So when we create messages, we need to create custom types, and I think I called it customer email changed. And let's get rid of this messages. Okay, so we don't have these messages anymore. It's just some standard boilerplate stuff. Okay, so now it's telling us, hey, where is the customer email changed? And we're gonna say it's here. I'm gonna put the value here. So let's see, we're just gonna return model cmd now. So I tried to make it compile first. Don't do anything else. So it doesn't have any arguments. On blur, does it have on blur anything arguments? On blur, let's check. Not this on blur, this on blur. So it has message, but it doesn't have Because on input has a string, but on blur doesn't. It just has a message. So what we can say is we need two events. We need on input, and for that we're gonna do customer email changed, and on blur we're gonna say customer email, I guess customer finished email, something like this. But we try. Oops. There you go somewhere. What I'm trying to say here is that, so this is gonna have a string, and I'm gonna add one more here, customer finished email, and that's our customer email change. And customer finished email is when we're gonna go and check for the customer. So if you saw the previous stream, I've developed a function there which allows to check for the customer. Okay, so so still no ports because we're still not using it. So let's say that when all of this is done, they need to click something. So we're gonna put a button there. Now we have a button, right? And we're gonna call it pay. And that button is gonna say on click, pay click. We're gonna go back to message. So if I save, it's gonna say, I don't know, was pay clicked. I'm gonna add pay clicked here. Now it's gonna tell us, I don't know where or what to do in case of pay clicked. So we say pay clicked model. So I'm gonna not change anything in model, but here I'm gonna say redirect, which for some reason doesn't highlight the right option. Redirect to checkout. I think that was what I called it. Redirect. Where's the port? Redirect to checkout. Yes, and it's asking for the string there. So we need to give it some value. So I'm just going to give it an empty value for now. But the thing I wanted to show is if I refresh the page, you see this ports thing? Now we have a redirect to checkout function and it has subscribe and unsubscribe. So now we can wire it to JavaScript. So the function that we need is stripe.redirect to checkout, and it just accepts a session ID. So what we can do is we can actually directly just go and put it there. But I prefer to have my own functions for the sake if I want to add any logging or something like this. To checkout session ID, and we're just gonna call stripe.redirect to checkout and grab the session ID from here. So it's quite simple. And now instead of consoling the app, we're going to say app.ports.redirect to checkout function. So I'm saying that whenever Elm sends us a message, which is going to have a session ID, and I was going to call redirect checkout, but actually we can just push this function there directly. And that should work. So let's see if I press pay button, it gives us, hey, value should be an object. Okay, sorry, what is this? Redirect to checkout requires us to do. Okay, session ID for some reason needs to be an object. And let's say that I press pay. You must provide one of items or session ID. So maybe the session ID is empty, that's why it doesn't like it. So I'm going to say test session. See if it likes that. Press pay again. You specify a valid value of session ID. So now it's complaining that, hey, I don't know what session ID you're giving me. I don't know what to do with it. So we're going to make in the next 30 minutes, try to figure out how to do an HTTP call. I haven't done Elm for over 2 months, so I'm going to need to remember this and use the Elm guide a lot. So we have... actually, before we do this, we need to figure out how to deploy this guy. And the reason is that we won't be able to call methods on the Darklang. As you remember, when I tried to do this, it didn't let me. The get methods probably will work, but the posts won't, because the cores in the browser won't allow us to do this. So let's figure out how to do static assets deployment, and I have a handy page here before we dive into doing HTTP. So we need to download the CLI, I believe. It gives us this very nice interface. Then we need to put this somewhere, and I put it in, I don't know, user local. Put my Flutter somewhere, so user local beam maybe. I don't know where my Flutter is. So I have the same problem with Flutter, where it kind of doesn't install nicely, so you need to manually move it somewhere because it's a fancy library. So which Flutter? Okay, use local frameworks, that's where I put it. So let's put this thing there too. So why not? User local frameworks. So I have Flutter here. I'm gonna add Darklang, and I'm gonna add this guy. And we need to do chmod on this. Chmod plus X, so we can actually execute. So that we can actually execute this guy, and then we need to add it to the path, which I forgot to say there. And I'm wondering, how do I do this? So maybe I'm gonna shut down my screen capture for a second. Thing, okay. And the reason is because this might have my passwords for Darklang, and I don't really want to show them to everyone, you know. So export path equals path. I don't think it has my passwords actually. I think my passwords are not here. Okay, my passwords are not here, so I'm gonna enable it back. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to say, so this is like, do I have dark here already? No. Yeah, I have my private variables in a separate one. So dark lang CLI 2. So path, and then we say this home slash, I don't know, this is Flutter pub being global, that's not the same for this guy. So we need to do user local frameworks. I forgot the path, to be honest. How do I get the path here? I think I can just drag and drop it here. Let's see if I can drag and drop. Oh yes, it works. Well, I'm impressed. So I can just remove all this crap. So now we have path, and after the path we're gonna add the dark CLI. And if I do this again, we should be able to have dark CLI apple. Didn't work. And we grab path. User local frameworks. Where is dark there? Yeah, dark CLI. Oh yes. So when I'm doing a path, I need to not specify the actual file, just the folder. I think if I try to do source shell, it does some weird stuff, so I prefer to open a new one. There is a way to restart it. I remember I saw someone doing it. Dark CLI apple. Aha, okay. So we have our dark CLI apple now. So it gives us a lot of stuff. So let's try to launch this. Okay, can be verified, and it kills. So what we need to do is we need to press open on this, and then it will say, hey, I don't know what it is, don't open this. But after that we told macOS, and it's fine, don't worry about it, it's not that bad. Then so at the moment of student doesn't support absolute path. For example, if you see the next static, we will not need to use the relative path instead. Okay, index likely to order such as up.js, your network and Drax union. Okay. Cool. How do we do it with Elm? We didn't tell. Okay. To deploy select region in this case for React default. Okay, so let's try. So we go to SRC payment page. We do yarn parcel build. So this is gonna create an optimized build for us. If I actually put index, .html, so it knows what to build. And It's gonna build the whole thing with Elm and everything packaged nicely. And now if I do dark CLI apple, I don't need to specify canvas. I need to specify canvas. I don't need to specify password and username because I think I have a private variables for them. It wants me to put a directory, I guess gist. Yeah, using credentials from the environment variable, printable false files. Okay, upload successful. So let's open our brain uploads thing. And let's see if we can actually, it wants me to log in into my Dark account, okay. Okay, Dark, show me something useful. Sure. Okay, so this is our static assets. This is key FM, whatever, we can actually copy this. So now what do? Set up your op to load assets. So we need to have something. Okay, so we can serve fallback assets, we can match the statement. This is a thing with Dark, you can't copy anything, so you can only post screenshots. It's kind of like, it's one of the things where like, what? I can't copy paste. Like you get used to it after sometimes. So let's create a HTTP get to get a file name. Like usually sometimes you need to type. Makes you a better programmer, I think. Response. So static assets. Serve latest. Serve latest. File name. So that's the name of the file, I guess. Match response. Okay. So if it's okay, then we return the response. But then if it's error, we return this is an error. It's always good to see how they write in the documentation because I didn't know they have a default one. See, static assets. Okay, so we can do serve latest and then put not called index.html. We have this crazy name there. So I'm gonna put this crazy name. Okay, so if we now go and say now what's the URL? Tell us the URL. Guess if we just open this a new tab. Page not found. Boom. Okay, I want index.html. Boom, page not found. Okay. So what are we getting here? Let's see. Let's collapse this guy because I can't see anything on the have. So first one, we got a file name equal to file name. Not great. Then we get index.html. So we tried to get the serve latest from index.html. That didn't work. Do we specify the name? How to upload this guy? When we upload my username build, doesn't ask us for the unsuccessful show deploy hash a URL and long URL. This way you succeed with a div. You can see such customer table. Where's the long URL? Oh, that's this one, yeah. Brain uploads. So I clicked on it. Something is loading. Some page loaded. Hey. So we get 4.4. Great. Because I think our index.html here is wanting the relative path. It does the script like this, and they mention here that you can't do this. So we need to do dark static assets space URL. And dark static assets base URL is this, I imagine. Why it's so small? Okay, brain upload to dark star. Well, there's some crazy stuff there. So maybe I'm just gonna manually modify the dist folder for now and see if we can make it work. So it wants the script to be in a payment page, so let's make it like this. And then it wants, probably that's it. So yeah. So when this guy requires to use the import statement, which is a different story, that part should work. So let's try to deploy with Dark again. And it's gonna upload again. It's gonna give us, pretty sure it's gonna give us different asset. Okay. How do I remove this guy, I wonder? I don't want 100 assets there. Yay! Awesome. So this is deployed on Dark. Now, here's the good question. Can we actually call the methods from here? So let's try to call a post customer. So I'm just actually copy request as a curl and try to do like from there directly. I'm going to try to do fetch post from this page. So fetch method post. Okay, we got 500, but we didn't get course request. I wonder, is it because it is. Well, let's try to do it here. So fetch teen method post, and I think we need to specify body JSON stringify. It needs something like, I don't remember what I need there. Let's check. So we need the body, we need the email address. Okay, I'm just gonna check for my email address directly, and let's see if we can call this. So I just want to check that we're not gonna get course errors. So again, we need to do this hyper. Can we specify somehow, like here, the name? Okay, well, it doesn't. We're able to not specify the name. That's kind of that we don't specify the name. So it means it's going to be different asset every time. Maybe I don't understand how this assets work. Okay, so this is our latest one. And let's check what we got. Did we got course errors or not? Refresh. Did we? Where's our fetch? Where's our fetch? I don't see the. Oh yes, right. I don't see the fetch because we uploading this, not this. So let's check parcel relative URL. Is it possible to tell parcel when it's building or like a public URL? Okay, here we go. Relative assets URL. Yes. Current behavior expected, if possible to build. Public URL. Oh, okay, awesome. So we just need to say public URL when we're building. Yarn parcel build public URL, and I'm going to specify /, I guess, and it's going to be able to figure out the rest, I think. Let's see. Yes, I need to give it index.html. Okay, what's wrong there? Oh yes, apparently I didn't correct JavaScript here. Thanks Parcel for actually figuring it out. It's like, I don't know what JavaScript you're putting here, or that's not JavaScript. Some weird language. Okay, so let's check our index.html, and it has the link. Not the way we want it. So what do we need to put there then? Like, dot. Is this what we wanted? I mean, I don't know, maybe. Let's try again. This guy. Okay, at least it opened. See if we get a network request there. Ah, damn it. Did we get course errors? No, that's something else. So, customers. Okay, awesome. So this thing allowed us, I think it allows the dark assets. So we don't need to do course. We don't need to do anything to call methods on the thing, and it's actually return to us customer ID. So that's almost the same, except we need to convert this to Elm. Right. So let's see if we can do this quickly. Maybe not. So like, it's quite a lot of context to Elm, and you might feel like, what the heck, this fetch was so simple. But this fetch doesn't handle anything, no errors. It doesn't handle what happens if it doesn't work, and it's all of this stuff. And we actually just hard-coded the name there, so that's not very good either. So let's start with getting a customer email. So we have a model, and we're going to update that model and put the email there first. So it's going to tell us, hey, I don't know what the heck is this. It doesn't have the email, so we're going to add an email here and make a string. Okay, now it doesn't know what the default email looks like. That's where it's kind of, you start thinking like, either this is really string or it's a maybe string, because by default it's nothing. So when it's a maybe, we need to say that it is nothing. And there is a syntax, I have forgotten to be honest, where we can say model key is a key, URL is URL, and email is nothing. And I prefer that syntax because to me it looks nicer. I think we just don't put the model then. Yeah, okay, that's how it is. Okay, so email value, it needs to be just, because it's similar how Dark handles this. And let's check if it's working correctly. So I'm just going to use this. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm expecting this thing on the right, but it's not appearing. There's like a debugger there. Switch. Well, I presume we're typing it here, so it should be working. So we have the email address here. Now we can say that when we click the pay button, first we need the session, but before we do that, we need to figure out, so after they did finish the email change, we want to make sure, before we actually make, so we're going to disable this button by default. Disabled is payment model, oops. Oh, so look, we are running out of time. So payment by default will be disabled. Initial, where's the model init? And we'll say that here, as soon as we start making like this, it's gonna highlight things. So payment disabled is true. Here we go. And what it is like? Seems payment disabled should be email. What? Ah, because we don't have payment disabled. Is boolean. Okay, so now it's happy, and as you see, pay button is supposed to be disabled. Doesn't look very disabled to me. What is this disabled thing when it's not disabled? I have a feeling we're not running the terminal. Here we are. Word. Okay, see, we now have the debugger, so, and now it's disabled, okay. So we're gonna enable it on the following condition. When we do customer finish the email, that's when we're gonna do HTTP call. let's look at HTTP. So we need to, so we're going to say saving to model, saving email, and disabling payment button. And now we're going to import HTTP. And we need to say somewhere, we need to say this http.get, but instead of doing http get, so over there. So here, when they finished, we're just gonna say find customer, and we're gonna create a function called find customer, which is gonna just return to us cmd message. Find customer based on the string actually, because we need the email. So search for email. So we're gonna just put the model.email here and see what else we get. So it says we don't know what to do with this, so I'm just gonna return empty, and it still doesn't know what to do. So HTTP post. So let's start kind of writing this in. And we have URL, the first thing. So that's our HTTP bring the post customers. And it needs to know what to expect in that scenario, so I'm putting it in the wrong place. And we expect it to be a string, really. Expect string. And when we got this thing, we want to say got customer ID. And that's our message. So expect string accepts the thing when it. Ah, yeah, right. So we need to import install HTTP. Yes. Okay. Happy. Again, find got customer because we need the message here. So got customer, and this is gonna not give us a string as we would want. It's actually gonna give us something crazy. So if we look at got text, oops, it's gonna see here as result HTTP error and a string. Result HTTP.error and a string. I finally got customer ID. Did I call it got customer ID? Yes. Okay, so now it's saying us right. So it's asking us, and this is where beauty of maybe an Elm kind of comes in. It's asking us like, okay, you have an email, but what happens if you don't have an email? What happens if your email is nothing? What do you do in that scenario? So that's where we can say, okay, if our email, so we have maybe dot and then I think so. This one continuing, like all things are going well. So we can say it's like this. It's kind of I get confused with this indent index, so I like to write it like this. So if we look at dash and then see no events. Why is not giving us what? Here we go, mail maybe. Chain together. So in case if you don't want to do this, then you just write and then. So we pass maybe dot email, model.email. Essentially we say model.email, and then so if we got the email, then we call find customer. And I think if we don't get an email, it should be fine. So that returns maybe to us. That's no good. So let's do the simple case. So really, like, so if we have a case, we can say model.email, and if it's case of And if it's just, then we're gonna grab a value and we call find customer with value. And otherwise, if it's nothing, then we literally just return cmd.none. It's probably a more elegant way to write this, but I'm gonna just do that. So it says to us, where's your hacker's your body? So let's put a body there. And the body needs to be a JSON body. So let's have a look at how to do the JSON body here, and let's see if they actually show us an example, which they don't, which is great. And that's for that I have this book called Element Action, which I opened in preview usually. http://post this guy talking to servers, data, sending HTTP request. Okay, http://post. Okay, so let's still showing us only. Let's just check the recommendation for HTTP post. Sometimes, quite often in Elm, you find example in the recommendation. I mean, http.empty body doesn't help us at all. http.json. So we have a body thing here, right? And the body thing is HTTP body. JSON body. Put some JSON value in there. If there's something, get a content type. Okay, so http.json body. And I guess JSON body would need us to do give the next thing. It's JSON encoder. So here we're going to the fun stuff. I think I actually had a book somewhere about JSON encoders. Is it this one? Yes, here we go. Brian Hicks JSON survival kit. I don't have it downloaded, unfortunately. These simple things, like it might seem that Elm is really overkilling it with this thing here, but Elm is not designed for quick and easy, like, hey, I just want to hack something together. It's more designed for, so if we want to give us the JSON encode value, we need to just say encoder. Okay, so I think I will kind of almost be done with this, but we'll continue in the next stream because it feels like we're getting stuck. So I'm gonna do some reading offline, and it seems like the connection is shit anyway. So it's showing the red signal here, so we need to figure out the signal. So thank you for watching, and till next